This is a big deal, the NIH thing, and it's immediate. It's happening right now. Literally, as we speak, there are professors, researchers, other people working at universities, and more. The knock-on effects of this are going to be huge, who are finding out that they're going to have to be let go, or that their program is suddenly unfunded. The NIH, Trump administration cutting billions of dollars in biomedical research funding. This is, according to the Washington Post, alarming academic leaders who said it would imperil their universities and medical centers, and drawing swift rebukes from Democrats who predicted dire consequences for scientific research. Honestly, I don't know who wrote this. I don't have the byline on this, but I can't imagine a more pathetic, and I feel like I could spend a week with a media critique class to explain why this paragraph is just horseshit. It's not just rebukes from Democrats. In a moment, we're going to see like full-on Republican senators going like, hey, wait a second. So it's not just Democrats, and it's not just alarming academic leaders, because in that same piece about a Republican senator begging for this not to happen, you have other people saying like, hey, wait a second. This university is the largest employer, not in the city, not in the town it's in the entire state. So it's not just that it's alarming academic leaders. It's alarming a lot of other people, too. I'm not an academic leader.
I mean, these aren't the NIH cuts, but in terms of like just general federal workforce, I was seeing NPR was saying that in Kansas City, the federal government is the largest employer.
Of course. But this is stuff that we have to be on the lookout in all of the press now, of making this like it's a he said, she said. There is no, it's 12 noon, but is it really the middle of the day? People who are interested in clocks, they say it is, but other people say it's not.
Both sides.
The move announced Friday night by the National Institutes of Health drastically cuts its funding for indirect costs related to research. Okay. And this indirect thing is also, like, it's an indirect cost in this office would theoretically be like a desk or a computer. I mean, I don't.
Internet service.
Internet service.
What would be a direct cost on the other side of things?
Well, let's say you're doing research on, I don't know, some type of chemical. The purchase of the chemical might be a direct cost.
Okay. Seems like we're splitting hairs here to give a lot of credibility to the Republican administration. So Sammy's got the coughs, but maybe it's a good opportunity then. Do you want to play number 4?
Play this clip.
Yeah. So this is a Fox contributor, Nicole Safer. And she here is talking about how she knows people, federal employees and health agencies, and how it's going to affect them.
Honest, I have a lot of colleagues who are really upset right now. They're very concerned that the funding for their research that they're doing is going to be cut off. I mean, we do a lot of valuable research in the cancer community, and I keep telling to people, like, you just have to give it a pause right now. I think DOGE is probably one of the greatest things to happen in U.S. history, but change is hard. I can empathize with these Democrats right now. It's really hard. And in hospital systems, like, we have to do these huge electronic medical record transfers. And that makes me want to retire and quit my job because it is so hard and there's so much work, but it doesn't mean it's not for the greater good of things. And so while I think a part of them just wants to keep it, they want to keep control of the money, but I also think it's really hard to accept change. And Elon Musk with DOGE, I truly believe, are doing great things, and they are going to weed out the waste and make sure that what deserves funding should get fundings. But I will be honest, I have a lot of...
I wish they had brought the laughter up and moved it up closer to when they were talking about... I have friends who are not being able to do their cancer research. And it's Democrats. Remember, Democrats are upset about this. Every cent of hard-earned taxpayer money should be spent efficiently, judiciously, and accountably, without exception. While the administration works to achieve this goal at the NIH, a smart, targeted approach is needed in order not to hinder life-saving, groundbreaking research at high-achieving institutions like those in what state? Can you guess what state it is? What state does this Democrat calling for an exception to these cuts to the NIH grants that are being cut?
Whoops.
Is it Massachusetts? Is it New York? It's got to be California. Oh, wait a second. No. Let's just start at the top of the alphabet. It's Alabama. That quote is from U.S. Senator Katie Britt.
Oh, Antifa, obviously.
Uh-huh.
She woke.
Totally woke.
This is from the AL.com. Currently, some universities receive 50% or more amount of a grant to put towards support staff and other needs, but that would be capped at 15%. This is according to the AP.
So workers.
Yeah, everybody, everything they need to do this. The University of Alabama at Birmingham and the University of Alabama in Huntsville are examples of state institutions that could be affected by cuts. UAB alone has received more than $1 billion in NIH recent funding in recent years. Incidentally, the NIH said the change would save more than $4 billion a year, effective immediately. And the note highlighted, this is from the NIH, this is from that Washington Post story. The note highlighted the multi-billion-dollar endowments of Harvard University, Yale University, and Johns Hopkins University, implying that many universities do not need the added federal funding. But here comes Katie Britt. Wham! UAH, that's the is that what we're calling Harvard now? University at Harvard, is that what it is?
Not quite.
Oh no, that's University of Alabama, Huntsville. Also receives NIH funding. Steve Ammons, president of the Birmingham Business Alliance. Oh, wonder what this lefty has to say. Said he was unsure of the specific cuts, but, quote, certainly any reduction in funding would be a hit to UAB since they were in the top 30 for 2024 for NIH funding. Certainly something we need to watch and make sure we advocate for the states. You ready for this? Now, this is the state's largest employer. What private company owns University of Alabama? Does anybody know?
I do not know.
What private company is it? Can you look up the owners of the University of Alabama? This might be a company I want to invest in because this seems pretty big. They're the biggest employer in Alabama, the state. Anybody? It's the state of Alabama. What? It's government?
Employing people?
Wow.
Government doesn't create jobs. Will someone please let this guy from the what is it? The Business Alliance.
Check out Econ
Government
100.
doesn't create jobs. That's not really jobs.
2.3 million federal workers in this country, by the way.
And then the NIH, a federal program,
Yes.
funding the biggest employer in the state,
On top of that.
which is a state employer,
Right.
which is also government, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. Everything you have been told about all of this by the right is just a out and out lie. And this is a lie that's been existed for years and years. But because there is at least one senator in Alabama with integrity who will never veer from his absolute stupidity in every sector of governance. Tommy Tuberville supports the cuts. When the American people voted for President Trump on November 5th, they voted for his campaign promise to create the Department of Government Efficiency and cut waste in the federal government. I would be willing to bet that 85% of the people who voted for Donald Trump on the day of the election would have no idea what you were talking about.
Right.
And then another of that remaining 15%, half would just lie. And then there would be another 7% that would say, like, yeah, I think so.
Also, Tuberville coached at public land grant university Auburn, which I wonder what his salary was there as a state employee.
Interesting.
I'm sure he would have been able to do his job if he didn't have any support staff.
Support staff, yeah.
That's where we're at with the NIH funding. And just off the top of your heads, 2023, the top NIH grants, UC San Francisco, Hopkins, John Hopkins, University of Pennsylvania, that's in Pennsylvania, incidentally, Duke University, that's in North Carolina, University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, that's in Michigan. Those are all swing states. And with 2 Republican senators in North Carolina, 1 in Pennsylvania, and then Fetterman, who knows what he is. I wonder if he supports it. University of Pittsburgh, that's also in Pennsylvania. Mass General Hospital, just a bunch of hippies there. And Washington University in St. Louis, top NIH grants, at least in 2023. So, I think this is, we're going to see this resonate.
And it's just amazing to me that they're getting away with, like I just saw right before we went on air, that Jerry Connolly had said that the public gave Trump a mandate that things would be running efficiently. And in part, he has that mandate. Ken Klippenstein put out that quote.
Who said this?
Connolly.
Recently?
Yes, this morning.
Oh,
That's the quote. But the point is just like, here is how you have to approach it. They're stealing from you. Our tax dollars go towards these kinds of programs. It goes to Medicare, it goes to Social Security. Yes, it goes to the military, but it also goes towards cancer research. It also goes towards the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has an $800 billion a year cost, but has returned $21 billion to consumers. Like, maybe that's inefficient, but when they see it. But the CFPB in part is also like efficient because it consolidated all of the enforcement mechanisms into one agency. So when they say efficiency, what they mean is cutting programs that your tax dollars were supposed to go towards to benefit their own ends and to reallocate those resources
every dollar
for their
the Consumer
project.
Financial Protection Bureau spends, which doesn't technically actually come from tax dollars. It actually comes from the Fed, but regardless, from fees. Every dollar returns about 20 to the consumer. And that's just in hard dollars. You don't know how much business has been done differently because they know the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau may come after them.
And I misspoke. Sorry. $800 million a year agency returned $21 billion to consumers. I was like, I knew I
1
wrote
to
that,
20.
wrote that down
let's not
incorrectly.
get caught up in the math.
Yes.
And I just recommend people look up their local areas research universities. I did mine in North Dakota, UND, and got this headline from 2023. UND's Department of Biomedical Sciences first among similar departments to receive NIH grants. Basically, it ranked for controlling for size. UND was taking the largest number of NIH grants.
Yeah, but what are they doing? Studying the spit of lizards or something?
HIV research. There's some aging research. There's some cancer stuff. $700,000.
It's not important.
For some DNA repair stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's just not going to Grand Forks now. But hey, the drone program hasn't been attacked because it looks like the Pentagon isn't a priority for all.
Try just eating Whole Foods. Don't worry about it. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.